All right, we're on.
All right, I'd like to go ahead and open up the Warrenton Board of Alderman meeting for September 6, 2022. If you would, please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item will be the introduction for new employees.
In the finance area, we have a new utility billing customer service clerk, Deidre Brannon.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome. I think she waited on me today and she did a great job.
Wonderful to hear. She's lovely.
In the grounds and maintenance department, you have Seth Rue. He's a laborer. Welcome, Seth.
Welcome, Seth.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. In the Public Works Department, we got a Cody Hacker, and he started August 29th.
Welcome aboard, Cody.
Welcome, Cody.
And in the police department, we've got Melissa Howard, who is not here, but part-time crossing guard. You'll see her at 47 in Walton.
Sorry to be out there with Officer Clark.
She's getting FTO today in that position. So.
Thank you and welcome aboard. Next, we have the consent agenda.
We have the regular and executive session minutes from August 16th, 2022. The rock bid awarded to Hassenjaeger Trucking, the low bid. The cinders bid was awarded to Beelman Logistics, the only bid. And the salt bid was awarded to Morton Salt, the low bid.
Any questions on any of those? No. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Cullen. Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Alderman Cullum?
Yes.
Alderman Jasper?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next, we'll have public comments. If anybody would like to say anything that they'd want to bring up to us, please come to the stand or to the podium, I'm sorry, and we ask that you speak your name, and we'll give you 5 minutes to talk about your topic.
My name's Dan Durbin. I live here in the city. Also, I'm on planning and zoning. And I was told today that there was something coming up about building apartments in the close to Rural King. I don't know if that's on the agenda today, but I totally disagree with the location. The fact that I thought we made a sort of an agreement that we weren't going to put any more apartments along the highway, since we were saving that for commercial property that brings in revenue. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. I don't. Let me look, make sure.
Anybody else like to speak? Not seeing anybody, we'll move on to Board of Alderman comments.
I had an opportunity today to stand at what I'm going to call the four-way stop because I'm that old, and watch the wall that healed pass through, and we had several of the community members out there waving and cheering on, and I do appreciate them doing that, and I think it's a awesome idea, and I really appreciate all of those that were involved in bringing the wall to Warrenton for the couple 3 days. Thank you, Mayor.
I just want to say thanks to Brandy and John. I know John's not here, and all the grounds crew and whoever helped cut the sidewalk on 47 North. It looks awesome. I know we were getting lots of complaints about that, and we were waiting on that final inspection, and we finally got it, and everything looks great. So, thanks everybody.
Anyone else? I'm looking forward to the wall that heals. I'm hoping that people get word of mouth out there and start telling people that it's going to be there from Thursday on through the weekend. So we get as many people up there as we can to visit it. Tell people outside of town or anywhere else too. It's a magnificent thing to see. I think it's a great thing for any veterans that need to heal over certain things or be able to come and maybe put some rest to demons or anything else they've been dealing with over the years. And it's amazing to watch how it works. It's open 24/7. There's no time period for you to be able to have to come. You come at your leisure and see. It'll be watched, and there'll be volunteers out there the whole time. So please take advantage of it. That is up at the sports complex. So, a Warrenton Sports Complex. Next, we'll have the catered liquor license for the Fall Festival 2022 for Mama's Cupboard and Warren County Fair Board. Are there any questions on that?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the catered liquor license for Mama's Cupboard and Warren County Fair Board for Fall Festival 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Miller. Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Alderman Cullum?
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next will be the road closure for the homecoming parade on September 11th, 2022. Is there any questions on that?
Looks to be the same route as usual.
Yes. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the road closure for the homecoming parade on September 11th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Cullum, seconded by Alderman Jaspering. Roll call vote.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Alderman Cullum?
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Next will be the preliminary funding agreement, Chapter 100 bonds.
Good evening. We have with us tonight our bond counsel, which is from Gilmore and Bell. His name is Mark Spikerman. Did I say that right? And he will discuss any questions or anything that you have regarding this Chapter 100 bonds.
Thank you. Again, my name is Mark Spikerman. I'm a lawyer with Gilmore and Bell. We've been helping the city on economic development matters, and we've been asked about this very initial step for this particular project. And when I say initial step, it is really the first step. It's a preliminary funding agreement. It's an agreement between the city and the developer, where the developer agrees to cover the city's costs to consider an incentive. In this case, it's a Chapter 100 bond transaction that would facilitate a sales tax exemption on the construction materials used to construct the project. The resolution does not require the city to approve a Chapter 100 transaction. That's fully at your discretion at a later time in place. It just simply means that we take the initial steps to consider it, to prepare some documents for your further consideration, and then also that the city's costs would be covered. And I know in the audience, there's Rob Clark. Are you speaking for the developer today?
Mr. King is here as well.
Mr. King would be here from the developer in case you have any specific project questions. If you have questions regarding how a Chapter 100 works, I'm happy to answer any of those questions.
I think if you could explain it real quick, just a brief
Sure.
overview.
Sure. Chapter 100 refers to a section in Missouri statutes that authorizes industrial revenue bonds. The way we use that authority in these situations is to basically enter into a leaseback transaction during the construction period, where the developer will lease the project to the city. The city will then lease it back to the developer. The city's consideration for that lease is a industrial revenue bond transaction that is payable only from the developer's lease payments to the city and not from any taxes. It's solely a paper transaction, essentially, where those bonds are the obligation of the developer's lease payments, again, not any taxes of the city. The end result of that is essentially the developer gets to borrow the city's sales tax exemption certificate in order to buy lumber, steel, whatever he needs for his project.
And that sales tax is statewide, nationwide, citywide, countywide?
Yes, and it applies wherever the construction materials are purchased. So if materials are purchased in Warrenton, that's excluding the Warrenton sales tax. If they're purchased in Wentzville, it's excluding the Wentzville sales tax. If they're purchased out of state, it's most likely excluding the use tax that would be due, if any, in this area.
How often have you seen this done in other communities, other cities within a 100-mile radius of where we're at?
It is being used with increasing frequency. Sometimes it's used to facilitate both sales tax exemption and property tax abatement. In this case, I understand it's only being used for sales tax exemption. But Wentzville has used it, Dardine Prairie has used it, St. Charles has used it, numerous places within St. Louis County and St. Louis City.
Are we seeing a lot of the developers using it? Or are we seeing a few developers or certain developers using it?
We are seeing a wide array of developers using it on a wide array of projects these days.
And I'm assuming this would go to any developer developing a duplex to a multi-unit like we're looking at here?
Yeah, the statutory authority, generally we got to be looking at rental property, not owner occupied. So
wait a second, you confused me, owner occupied. So
like single family houses and condos would not qualify.
But if I did a condo and didn't live there, I could get this exemption? Is that what you're telling me?
Potentially, it's there are transactional costs for doing a lease back. It's very administratively burdensome. To be able to do it on a single condo would not be practical. To do it on a...
But it is there. It is available to those, to anyone, basically, if you feel like you...
If you are doing something for profit under the Missouri Constitution and under the Chapter 100 of the Missouri statutes, you're engaging in a commercial enterprise, and this would be a potential tool available.
Have you heard any pushback from communities that are selling material, hardware, heavy equipment, whatever?
No, and I say that's somewhat with a grain of salt, because most likely the way it practically works is, the city provides a project exemption certificate to the developer provides that certificate to his contractor goes to, ABC Lumber or wherever to buy something, provides the copy of the certificate to that vendor. The vendor then just simply doesn't charge sales tax, doesn't remit sales tax to the Department of Revenue. So there's no reporting mechanism that would allow City A to know that City B's project exemption certificate was used in that.
Okay.
I guess my only question would be for the developer or the owner, if this hasn't gone through P&Z yet, why are we seeing this now before that even gets brought up? Or
Mr. King, or Ms. Clark, would you like to address that?
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Again, my name is Robert Clark with Armstrong Teasdale here on behalf of Raul Walters Properties and the owner of the proposed development. I think the short answer is we felt it was important to give you a full picture of all of the different pieces of the puzzle that are going to be required to make this project happen. The request, as Mr. Speicherman indicated, for an exemption on the construction materials is really something that we need to make the numbers work for the project. And so trying to move this on a parallel track with the zoning approvals is really the intent, and make sure that you all have a complete picture of everything that would be necessary in terms of approvals to make the project go.
Any other questions? I may do.
For me, well, I don't know who it's addressed to. I mean, to me, and I get it, the gentleman, I forget his name, Dan or Dick from P&Z. I know he's just one P&Z member that came tonight, but if there are stuff in our code that say we're not supposed to have apartments, I mean, are we kind of putting the cart before the horse here, before it gets to P&Z, or? I'm just asking.
The only thing that is in code right now for, as far as the apartments out there, is we have the retail overlay district, and 50% of that development has to be retail. So with the outlet mall.
Some of the shops.
Right, with the shops, I'm sorry, all of that, it would make more than the 50%.
Where are we at on that? Because I apologize for my ignorance on it because I wasn't here during that time frame. As far as what the number is, 50% at the mall, or where's that stand currently?
I don't remember off the top of my head how much percentage of that has to be retail out there. I don't remember that off the top of my head. I apologize. The retail overlay district is separate from the agreement, the development agreement.
I guess my only other question to you would be, so if we decide we want to pass this tonight, you said it's not costing the city nothing, we're not technically entering into this agreement at this point?
That is correct. Before any incentives would be awarded, there would be a full ordinance, a full tax impact statement that would have to be presented back to you at a later date. This is just approving an agreement where they put up some money for the city to use when considering the incentive.
So through our council, resolution isn't binding to anything until we pass the ordinance, correct?
The short answer is the decision you're trying to make tonight is, do you even want to consider exploring
guidance.
this further option?
That's what it is.
Right.
We're just guiding them.
Yep.
Okay.
Before we do anything, I would just as soon table this and have a discussion with, as a group, a meeting about this and kind of get a feel where everybody's at on this. I think this is a little too early to be going into an ordinance that I'm not 100% sure I totally understand nor agree with, so.
So if you want to table it to get more information, I think we could see what information questions people have. And, if you guys don't feel like you have enough information tonight, we get questions about, what the full process would look like with ultimately doing the ordinance, to give you guys right now this would just be resolution, and give you that kind of timeline so you know how this all lines up over time versus, like the eventual P&Z process.
Well, that's my concern is if we do this and move forward with it, what's going to be the repercussions a year from now? What's going to be the repercussions if someone else comes in here and asks for something very similar? So I don't feel I'm well educated enough on this specific chapter to do anything with it this evening, is my personal opinion. My colleagues may not agree with that, but.
Would you like me to go over operations in more detail or timeline?
I think the detail I'm going to want is going to take longer than what we're wanting to sit here and talk about tonight.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going to surmise, I'm just going to taking some notes. I think people, or the aldermen, or two or the aldermen that have spoken, are kind of concerned about the process of it all. And no offense, but I'm going to call it out for what it is. I believe I asked earlier if we could have a workshop over this that would clarify a lot of things and be able to clarify things for all aldermen to be more comfortable going into it rather than being on a meeting. A meeting night is probably not the time to discuss it because there may be questions that certain people have and it can get quite lengthy. That's why I asked for a workshop last time we talked about this. That was during the TIF project the same way. We went through very detailed anybody who said they agreed or disagreed had to be concrete on it, because I don't think we could have explained it any more forward or backwards the way we went through and Rob, you were here for that. We went very thoroughly through it so that if there was any mistake and anybody didn't have the information, it's because they didn't open their mouth and ask. So, I I get that we're trying to move a project along and trying to do things in a time frame, but, you know, this is no offense to Mr. King or any of you guys. You're not the ones to catch the heat for it. We are. So that's why the education needs to be there, so we can talk to the public and advise them of what we made a decision upon. And why we did that, being thoroughly educated on what the matter was. Chapter 100, this is the first time somebody's brought it up to us, guys. I've done my homework on it, I believe. I don't know that I fully understand some of it. I get that you guys are just asking on sales tax, but the lease option back just does not equate to me as to why and how that works. I do have some questions on that mechanism. And I think our legal team needs to be involved with it when we're answering that as well. But I mean, that's just my opinion and what I'm hearing. Both aldermen were discussion on some of the problems and some of the questions.
Yeah, I don't think I'm necessarily against, you know, helping out someone that wants to bring a business here or whatever, you know, getting a tax break, by no means, because we want business to come here. But it just sounds to me anyways, like if we vote for this tonight, we're basically saying, yeah, we're almost agreeing to having to change some city codes to bring in the project, I guess.
Is this going to lead to like more people asking for this down the road?
It potentially could. Yeah, it potentially could.
Everybody want it?
Let me say a couple things though first, just to answer. I think Alderman Cullum's sort of comment. I think that the proposed Chapter 100 process is separate and completely distinct from the process of getting the appropriate land use approvals to do the project that Mr. King is proposing. Right. If one doesn't happen, the other's not going to happen. The only thing that we're trying to do is move them as best as we can along a parallel track, so that if one happens, then the other can happen more or less in the same time and at the same Board of Aldermen meeting at some point in the future, so that we can get to the finish line and move the project forward as efficiently and cost effectively as possible. So you can't have one without the other, right? If ultimately P&Z recommends against, or this board doesn't want to approve a zoning change to allow for this project to happen, the Chapter 100 will never get approved, right? And similarly, you may say, we're okay with the zoning, but we don't, for whatever reason, like the proposed sales tax exemption. And, you know, certainly to the extent that the mayor and the board want a work session to have further conversation about that, we're happy to try to, you know, give as much information and answer many questions as we can. I think my one comment on all of that is, at a certain point, there may be details that you all are interested in that would require a special counsel on your end to sort of delve into and be able to give you some nitty-gritty in terms of numbers, right? I'm not sure that Mr. Spikerman or Gilmore & Bell's in a position to do that without the preliminary funding agreement that we're talking about, because that's essentially what provides the funding for the city to engage his firm to advise the city. So depending upon the nature of the questions and how you all are wanting to get answers to those, it may still be that you need to kind of move forward on the preliminary funding agreement to be able to get that sort of third-party advice.
Well,
but that's for you all to kind of figure out.
No, I think we have counsel here that I hope will be able to entertain this and explain it to us.
Sure.
So you as an attorney or whatever, you get it. I think our attorney will, and his staff will get it.
Fair enough.
And they can disseminate that information to us in layman's term.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this and I see a bunch of attorney information there.
It is complicated, for sure, under the statute.
So I don't want to be giving away something, not only for this community, for communities around here, that somebody's wanting not to pay sales tax, which that sales tax includes schools, libraries, roads, streets, those type things. So in my mind, I need to make sure I'm happy with myself and my constituents are happy with me giving up something not only here in this community, but communities surrounding us that can turn around and do the same thing to us.
Yeah, sure, understood. And just to clarify, school districts and a number of those other districts don't levy sales taxes, so they would not be impacted. But no question that getting into the specifics of which taxing districts have sales taxes that might be impacted by this is part of, I think, the conversation that needs to happen. And again, to Alderman Jaspering's point, this certainly opens the door for others to make requests like this in the future. Ultimately, what I would suggest is that Our request needs to stand on its own merits, and you need to have a reasons basis for why it's necessary to make this project successful, and that would be the same litmus test you'd apply to any future project that might come along and ask for assistance like this. Just like we did, to the mayor's point, with the tax increment financing that was utilized for the shops. This would be a similar consideration, right, as to why it merits this particular level of support from the city, and you'd apply that to any future project that would come along as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the reading of resolution number 339.
I'd like to table this. I'm not sure if this is when I need to do it or not, but I'd like to table this and have a discussion with the other alderman about it at a later date.
Motion's been made to table the resolution number 339 to at a different later date for a workshop, I guess is what you're saying. Is that correct?
I'll second that.
And to have our legal team give us some insight on it.
Motion made by Alderman Quarter, seconded by Alderman Cullum. Roll call.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Roll call on tabling of the resolution for further date.
Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Alderman Cullum?
Yes.
Alderman Jasper?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Crum?
Yes.
Motion tabled to a later time for further education on the matter, I believe. Is that correct? Alderman Quarter? Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I apologize.
Next, we'll have City Administrator Randy Walters.
Good evening. The first thing that I have for you tonight is tourism met on August 23rd last week, and we received an update from Tom Carter, who is the spokesperson for the Tribute to Veterans Memorial. And I wanted to share a video with you guys. This site, I thought this was kind of a big deal. This site has been selected for a Foundation Forward program, a Charters of Freedom, which is Foundation Forward program. And basically they're gonna install full-size replicas of the Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights at this site. It's not gonna cost our organization anything. They've just been chosen by sending in a letter of recommendation, and they ended up getting chosen. And I was gonna have her show this quick 4-minute video if you don't mind.
I want to tell you about the principles of Foundation Forward. The number one principle of Foundation Forward is education. No matter what you take from this experience, it all goes back to education. Education on American history, to preserve that history surrounding the time of the founding of our country. Education on government, so all will know how government is meant to serve and protect we the people. Number two is access. You see, not everyone can get to Washington, to the National Archives. We want to provide access to these founding documents in communities in a proper setting. And number three is community. Having your Charters of Freedom allows your community a place where they can gather to celebrate, to honor, and to reflect. People ask us, why are we doing this? And we tell them, yes, it's very expensive, but it's more important than money. We believe it gives us a direct link to our founding fathers by helping to preserve what it is they gave this country, a government to serve and protect we the people. If you want a monument or a setting to last, you put more underground than above ground. These are not tip-over monuments. Your foundation goes down 3.5 feet. It is solid, reinforced poured concrete coming up into a solid, reinforced core. Just the core and foundation of the center display weighs over 38,000 pounds, over 19 tons. There are 6 documents displayed. all are life size, which means the Declaration of Independence is a little larger than the others. Each one is on quarter-inch etched bronze and weighs over 60 pounds. There is a Charters of Freedom medallion on the front, which is very special. The eagle represents the Declaration of Independence, proud, bold, defiant. The 7 stars above the eagle represent the 7 articles of the United States Constitution. The 10 stars under the eagle represent the first 10 amendments, your Bill of Rights. From the beginning, this has been an education project. We learned we had 2 founding fathers who were very big on education, Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin. These 2 believed that in order to have a free, independent country, you must understand how government works, that you cannot control what you do not understand. Thomas Jefferson in 1789 said, "Educate and inform the whole mass of the people. They are the only sure reliance for the preservation of our liberty." And James Madison wrote in 1822, "A people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power knowledge gives." Our hope is that our future leaders will come from communities where they have their own charters of freedom set, that your children will no longer grow up just talking about the Constitution and Bill of Rights of Washington. They'll be talking about their United States Constitution and their Bill of Rights, the ones they grew up right in your own community.
I'm just glad to see a resurgence of patriotism around our country in the small communities. I mean, that's where it starts. And the 4th and 5th graders and come to see these things. I think it's a wonderful thing that Mary Jo and Dan are doing.
So that just kind of gives you a visual of what it'll actually look like once they have that installed, which is huge. Like they said, that middle one is like 19 tons, so it's not a small thing.
So Brandy, is that, I may have missed this, I apologize. Was it going to be put on private property someplace or on city property? And there would, but I actually did hear the part I liked, no cost to us.
Right. It is actually going to be put at the Tribute to Veterans Memorial, where it is currently.
Great
they're going to put they have a spot there that they're going to actually put it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
The next thing I have for you is tourism had a recommendation to approve interstate attraction signs for Holiday Inn Express and Fastlane in the amount of $1,200. And this is a budgeted item, so we would just need approval for that.
Questions on that? I'll entertain a motion to approve the tourism recommendations in the amount of $1,200.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Cullum. Roll call vote.
Alderman Cullum?
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Crump?
Yes.
Alderman Porter?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
The next thing I have for you tonight is an agreement with WM Financial Strategies. Unfortunately, Joy Howard, she's our financial advisor, but she could not be here tonight due to a dental issue. But this is, I've been discussing with her, as you guys know, we're getting ready to start working on the expansion at the wastewater treatment plant. So this is I've been working with her to start our funding process, whether we have to go to no tax increase bonds or how we're going to fund this. So that's what this agreement is for, so I can get her tied into this so we can finish working on it.
Any questions on that?
And on that, this may be off topic, Brandy. Did we ever get that study back yet about the sewer and water rates?
We have not. I think he's working on it.
Okay.
We've not gotten it. It's not completed yet.
Okay. Thanks.
This is the bill, correct? Okay. I'll entertain motion for the first reading of bill number 58-22.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Jaspering, seconded by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a financial advisory agreement with Joy A. Howard, DBA WM Financial Strategies.
I'll entertain a motion for a second reading of bill number 58-22.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Corder, seconded by Alderman Crump.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a financial advisory agreement with Joy A. Howard, DBA WM Financial Strategies.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Jaspering.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Alderman Quarter.
Yes.
Alderman Cullum.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0.
The next thing I have for you tonight is a bill for an ordinance change for the speed limit changes that were discussed in a previous work session. This code reflects I cannot talk tonight. West Veterans Memorial Parkway, 40 miles an hour, Ash Road to 30 miles an hour, Hickory Lick Road to 30 miles per hour, Pinckney to 30 miles per hour, Warrior Avenue from 47 to Pinckney is 30 miles an hour except in the school zone, which has been designated from Wrigley Circle to Pueblo, and that'll be 20 miles an hour from 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning and 2:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon.
Questions? I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 59-22.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, second by Alderman Quarter.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton amending Table 1A of the Municipal Code and creating Table 1B for school zone speed limits.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading of bill number 59-22.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, second by Alderman Cullum.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton amending Table 1A of the City Municipal Code and creating Table 1B for school zone speed limits.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Alderman Quarter.
Yes.
Alderman Cullum.
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0.
The next thing I have for you is the bill for an ordinance change that was also discussed in a previous meeting to not allow soliciting of any kind on our right-of-ways or roads, and that would be for any organization. We would no longer allow that.
Any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion for first reading of bill number 60-22.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Jaspering, second by Alderman Cullum.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton amending Municipal Code Section 210.690 and Chapter 610 regarding solicitation.
Entertain a motion for the second reading of bill number 60-22.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, second by Alderman Quarter. Is that correct?
Correct.
An ordinance of the City of Warrenton amending Municipal Code Section 210.690 and Chapter 610 regarding solicitation.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Alderman Quarter.
Yes.
Alderman Cullum.
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0.
The next thing I have is the Greater Warren County Economic Development Council agreement. This is an annual agreement with them where they look for businesses outside of our community to bring into our communities. This is in the amount of $22,500, and it is, I checked with them today, this invoice, just in case you had that question, is based on the assessed valuation of our jurisdiction.
Which it just changed over to not too long ago, but 3 years ago.
Right.
It used to be more in the private sector. They've changed that to be more transparent and show different things, so they switched it over to assessed value of your area.
Correct.
Just for clarification purposes. Any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 61-22.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Quarter, second by Alderman Crump.
I'm sorry, Alderman Quarter, and who was second?
Crump.
Alderman Crump.
Is that correct?
Correct.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a service agreement between the City of Warrenton, Missouri and the Greater Warren County Economic Development Council.
I'll entertain a motion for second reading of bill number 61-22.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Jaspering, second by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a service agreement between the City of Warrenton, Missouri and the Greater Warren County Economic Development Council.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Alderman Quarter.
Yes.
Alderman Cullum.
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0.
The next thing I have for you tonight is our military honoree banner program. And thanks to Alderman Cullum Alderman Quarter for bringing this to our attention. We would like to start this program. I'm not sure if you guys got a copy of this pamphlet or not. And it's basically just our flags that we currently have out on 47 and on Main Street, they're flags, but they're like those little banners. We're wanting to start this program to replace those with anybody who wants to honor a veteran, either current, past, however that it happens to be. And we would like to start this program quickly. We'd like to put them into place where you can purchase these, and it would go up the week before Veterans Day, and we do it twice. We're going to start out doing it twice a year, the week before Veterans Day and then the week before Memorial Day. If it ends up where we get them full, we may end up having to turn around and just do it once a year, but our goal at first is to do it twice a year. Do you guys have any questions about this? The other thing I had is we would have, the charges for this would be $150 for an applicant that lives inside the city limits, $175 for somebody that lives out in the county, and then $200 if they live outside of the county.
Randy, will these banners be bigger than the U.S. flags that are up there right now, or about
No,
the
they're
same
about
size?
They're about the same size.
Okay.
Because they would fit we have to have them fit our brackets that are already there. Currently, the brackets are on every other pole, so if it ends up that the program ends up taking off, and we may end up having to add brackets later down the
All the
road,
poles.
but it would be a one-year program, so you would put it up for a year, and then you would have that option to do it again or not do it again. It would be up to the applicant,
It
obviously.
would hang up for a full year, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
They would hang for a full year. A lot of, when we started doing kind of research and stuff, a lot of cities only hang them up during that holiday. But we were thinking, these banners that we've had in the past last pretty close to 2 years. So we were thinking if we did a one-year program, they could still take their banner back afterwards and they would have it. Another thing that we had thought of was doing where before we hang them, we would have the banners printed and they could come to a board meeting and take pictures or, before they get hung as well. So.
Randy, on the cost of it, it's a one-time cost for the 2 years, or
Right, for the one-year program, yeah.
So it's $150, and then that's it?
Yep.
Okay.
It hangs for the whole year, and then they get the banner back at the end.
If you
Okay,
want to renew it for the next year, it's another 150.
Yep.
okay.
And then we're starting out on Highway 47, and then we would, depending on how many banners, then we go down Main Street.
Who's making the banners?
Evil Activewear.
Okay.
in town. And if you look on the corner there, that's kind of the spec that we have drawn up so far.
Are you just looking for approval, or
Yeah, I mean, if you guys are okay with it, we will just move forward with it.
do you need a formal?
I'm okay with it.
Is there anybody who opposes it on this board? And I would say go for it, Brandy.
All right, sounds great. We will move forward.
Make it a little
You ready to
easier.
start taking orders for those?
I believe we are. We've got the applications ready, we've got the pamphlets ready, it's just a matter of getting them all printed.
Adam, if you'd like to showcase that in some way you can, we'll get you the information.
It could be black or white pictures, correct?
Or let me say, I would appreciate it if you would showcase it in some way, Adam. Thank you.
It just has to be an actual picture. It cannot be a photocopy.
Correct.
It has to be an
It has to be
actual
a
picture.
picture. Okay.
And you
Don't
will
get it
not get
back.
the picture back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, really?
Yes.
The only
You can
issue
go-
with that is most of those pictures are done by photographers and they have certain copyrights. They will not allow you to recopy those. So when you give up your picture, you're giving up maybe your one and only picture you have. A lot of them have infringement rights upon other people, photographers and companies that have produced those pictures. They will not reproduce them.
So get a waiver if you need one. But yeah, I agree. I would say have them bring a waiver if they have something like that.
They used to be. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been there, but I mean, at Walmart, Walgreens, all of them had infringement rights upon
You know what I'm saying? How they gonna sign a
certain
waiver?
copyrights.
That long ago.
Something to look
I have to
into.
work through that then.
I mean, if they can do a really good digital copy that they can email to you, or email the Eagle Activewear, can they not do that?
I don't think that was
Well,
not.
we have to
can-
ask him that
Let's
question.
Yeah,
check,
we
and
can
then we'll
check
put the
with Mike on that.
information out on the website if we can,
Yeah.
as well.
Absolutely. The other thing that I have for you tonight, we have a P&Z opening currently, so I need to get with the 3 P&Z members, or the 3 vetting members, so that way we can do that. We do have one person already on our list, and then we have another person who's on the park board who is interested in doing the P&Z as well. Legal counsel has told us that that is not an issue as long as the board doesn't have an issue with that. So if you guys don't have an issue with that, we'll put her in the vetting process as well.
I don't have a problem putting her in the vetting process.
Okay. So we'll have 2 to vet, and we have 1 opening. The other thing I have for you is you should have received a recent sheet on the housing inventory that's within the city that Melody graciously finished up for us. And P&Z would like to meet regarding this. If you guys want to meet and kind of go over that a little bit further into detail and discuss it, then I will send you guys some dates. Okay, we can do that. And again, back to the wall at Heels that arrived today, and it's open for 24 hours a day starting September 8th through the 11th. They will have an opening ceremony Thursday the 8th at 6 p.m. And then they have a closing ceremony Sunday the 11th at 1:30 p.m. Okay. The other thing is there's a invitational only groundbreaking for American Food Group that you guys have been invited to on September 12th at 2:30. Just wanted to let you guys know that. And 2 weeks from Saturday on September 24th is the Fall Festival.
Not a concert. Is there a concert going on here shortly?
There is a little bit of a concert going on.
No, I mean, not with that one. I'm talking on, what is it? I can't remember what it's called. The Veterans Concert.
Oh,
Oh, that is right. It's going on also on, is that?
Fairgrounds on this Saturday, the 10th.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
10th.
Saturday the 10th.
But I cannot remember what it's called.
Veterapalooza or something like that.
Does anybody remember?
Veterapalooza.
Please bail me out here. Anyone?
Ovets concert.
Thank you. Movet concert. Whew. Sweating a little bit.
That's all that I have for you.
All right.
Randy, I have a question. What's the date on the groundbreaking for the...
September 11th. I'm sorry, September 12th. Monday, September 12th at 2:30.
What's that for again?
For the American Food Group that's going in, the plant.
Food processing plant down in Fort Bell area.
Okay.
And that was invitation only?
Yes, invitation only, but they have submitted an invitation to the board.
So that, okay.
So any of you are welcome to go.
Thank you. All right, next we'll hear from Finance Officer Dana Belaska.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. You have before you a list of claims for your approval tonight totaling $340,722.56. Did you have any questions regarding that list?
The amount you said was $340,722.56, is that correct? Okay. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $340,722.56.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Alderman Quarter, second by Alderman Cullum. Roll call vote.
Alderman Quarter?
Yes.
Alderman Cullum?
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering?
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Alderman Crum?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
You also have the financial reporting, the financials as of July. So it's just one period for the fiscal year so far, so it's a little bit hard to get too much of a picture of what's going on. But you'll notice that in the general fund, revenues are $24,000 below budget. You know, it's just a fluctuation in sales tax. And then operating costs for the general fund, $42,000 below budget, and primarily just some supplies and maintenance items that haven't been spent yet. A little bit about, $10,000 or so related to vacancies, so wage related. And in the water and sewer fund, they are $22,000 above budget to date. Again, summer is usually a peak month for water sales. Then in operating cost for the water and sewer fund, $34,000 below budget, and again, just more supplies and operating and a little bit of some vacancies. Any questions regarding those July financials?
Nope. I believe so. Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Aquatics Director Lisa Kramer.
Good evening. You have in front of you my July and August highlights for the Aquatic Center. We had 4,231 people come through our doors in the month of July, and 2,789 people come through the doors in August. The numbers are 545 less than they were last summer, and I believe that's because last year we had a marketing person and we sent a postcard out to the area communities to allow them to bring in pass for free for families of 4. Last year we had over 500 people come on those passes, so it pretty much balances out that we didn't have that this year. We have sold 86 memberships for the month of July and 46 for August, and at the moment we are fully staffed, so that's a good thing. We will be starting private swim lessons and group swim lessons the week of September 8th. We still have 8 to 10 spots left in group lessons, and we are also starting another round of junior lifeguard classes, and we have 4 to 5 spots for that, depending on the ages of the kids. This past July, the Warrenton Fire Department joined our in-service, and we ran scenarios and risk management information with them. The staff learned a lot from that, and we're going to continue to do that on a quarterly basis. So I think that'll help keep our pool even safer than it already is. We had Lifeguard Olympics in August, and we were able to have 20 guards participate in that, followed by a barbecue. So it was a good team building program for the lifeguards as well to work together and have some fun at the same time. The beginning of August, we hosted the National Night Out, and we had a great turnout for that, and I think everybody enjoyed being able to hang out with the police and fire departments. We just finished draining, cleaning, and refilling the indoor pool, and it reopened this past weekend. The weather wasn't so cooperative, but the pool is sparkling clean and warm. And the outdoor pool is going to remain open this month while the weather stays nice, because we can, because we're fully staffed and I can put lifeguards out there. So, and the fall hours began today, so we are no longer open all day long every day. We will be open from 6 until noon, Monday through Friday for members. Monday will stay open until 5:45 for the public for rec swim. And then Tuesday through Friday, we close from 12 until 3:30, and then or 12 to 4, and then we reopen at 4 o'clock for the public to come for rec swim. Saturdays and Sundays we're open 12 to 6. Any questions?
I don't have any. Thank you. Next order from Grounds and Maintenance Director Brad Boozy Cruz.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. You have my August monthly report. Still doing a lot of grass cutting, trimming, maintenance. Seems like nothing stopped just yet. So a couple other things. I don't know if some of you might have noticed, we got the pickleball courts on all 4 of the tennis courts have been painted and in use. We're going to start weed eating up at the cemetery this week as soon as we get done with finishing up out at the wall. Let's see what else we got. The fall ball started last week, and soccer is starting next week. So we're still in getting all those fields painted and cut again. There won't be anything out there this week till I think Sunday night. They're going to do the adult softball. They're going to let play that, but from now till Sunday night, there will be no activities out at the athletic complex per the wall people. So that's where we're at with that.
Any questions?
No, I just wanted to thank you. I had asked that you mow that section just north of Ash Road. I don't know if your crew did that or.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
you can see out
going out the side. Yeah, I just went all the way up past the corrections officer and all the way up through there, just made it look a little
Appreciate
better.
it. You can see a lot better now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Didn't realize it. I thought maybe MoDOT would cut that, but I guess they're still
Yeah.
running behind. I know they're
Good luck.
short-staffed too, so. And we did the North 47 today out past Hickory Lick for the wall pit people today, so they could, I know we're gonna have a lot of people in and out of there, so make it a little safer out there. That's another spot that doesn't get hit much, so that, we took care of that
I hope
today.
you're right on that. I hope there's a lot of people that come.
Well, I
in
think
out
there
of
would be there was a tremendous amount out there today, just people coming from all over the place just to look in cars. It was just like a big thing. So tomorrow we got a few things to finish up out there. So I think they're going to start at 8 o'clock, start to set up. So hopefully we'll have everything turned over to them and they can have at it. So
excellent.
The grass cutting along the North 47 sidewalk really looks good.
yeah, that was a cooperative between the treatment plant, the Public Works, and my crew. So
And good job.
yeah, thank you.
All right, next we'll hear from Public Works Director Guy Jeevers.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. You have my monthly report. A few highlights. We had a 6-inch sewer service that we had to repair. We repaired 5 water services, and that usually comes from water shutoff week. So we repaired 5 of them. We did some street creep repairs. We did 2 of them. Some sidewalk repairs on Bedford. We had 1 sewer call on 3rd Street. Any questions over that?
Questions?
No.
Real quick and a little update. Fair lane to the wastewater treatment plant sewer interceptor is completed. They're cleaning up. A lot of cleanup right now is down at the plant where they stored all their equipment. The water main improvement on Hawthorne, Vashel, and Tomahawk. Hawthorne, they're repairing the street cuts and doing the dirt work, and they're doing the same thing on Vashel. Road cuts and the dirt work, and they're getting ready to start on Tomahawk. Any questions on anything?
Not as of yet.
You're not asking for any money
Yes,
yet.
sir.
Got more coming up. We'll ask.
So the next thing I have is the BFA contract. This is a
There it is. Go ahead.
This is a contract with BFA Engineering to oversee the construction testing that MoDOT requires for the sidewalk along Veterans Memorial Parkway from Market Street to Rural King for the amount of $109,953.41, not to exceed. There's an ordinance for that.
That whole project is only going to cost that?
No, that's just the overseeing of the,
That's just the
because
engineering.
there's grant money and that involved in it, and we gotta follow the rules
Follow the rules of what?
of MoDOT for the
Oh.
grant money.
I'd say MoDOT maybe needs to be here to answer questions, but we'll go ahead and proceed with that, I
Okay,
guess.
thank you.
But I think next time MoDOT engineer needs to be here to answer some questions.
Guy, are you representing MoDOT?
Sorry, the what?
Are you representing MoDOT?
No, I'm not.
No.
Any questions on that? What's that?
We're not using the same sidewalk company, right?
I guess that's going to be maybe MoDOT's decision, is that right?
What's that, I'm sorry?
Which
Hopefully
companies,
we're not using the same sidewalk.
No, that's correct. We're
unless
not
MoDOT
using the
decides
same-
different, or?
Same company we are not using that did the.
Just want to make sure, I mean.
I guarantee you, there ain't no way I'd bring it up here.
I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 62-22.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Cullum, seconded by Alderman Corder.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for certain engineering services with BFA Incorporated.
Entertain a motion for the second reading of bill number 62-22.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller, seconded by Alderman Jaspering.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for certain engineering services with BFA Incorporated.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Cullum,
Yes.
Alderman Jaspering.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Schultz.
Yes.
Alderman Crump.
Yes.
Alderman Corder.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guy.
I'll entertain a motion to close the regular Board of Alderman meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a question, Mayor. How are we going to set up the info meeting with the 100?
Chapter 100.
Chapter 100.
We'll probably send it out in an email form and see what everybody's time and, or text message, see
Okay.
what time frame is allowed, and then we'll make the announcement. That way our friend Adam can know what time to be here to get all the information from it, and then we'll proceed from there.
Okay.
All right. Motion made by Alderman McCollum, seconded by Alderman Crump. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Well, that's only 1 out of 6, so we are so adjourned.